You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Thursday, 4th day of June, 2026. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room, so that one's reserved for members only and those taking their 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us at the top of the hour, he'll walk you through the simple steps, no credit card required. You get 5 consecutive trading days, weekends, holidays, don't count against your trial. But again, he'll walk you through it step by step. It'll take you about 3 minutes. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially begin tomorrow, which is a Friday, but don't worry, it'll run all the way through next week. You'll even get a couple of bonus days over the weekend to get familiar with the indicators and the strategy and all that. Now, this broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email there's a link, so at 12 noon Eastern all you have to do is click the link in the email and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way is you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But if you're new, it is a great way to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen here is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. The top of the hour, 1 o'clock Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room and do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. Right now, we'll start where we always start the afternoon broadcast with our daily devotional. The topic that we're on right now, everyday faith. Today's scripture is Luke 23, verse 34. I'll share it with you from the NIV translation. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. That's an old-fashioned way of saying rolling the dice, casting lots. Again, Luke 23, verse 34. Even as he was crucified, forgiveness poured out. Jesus was nailed to wood, mocked, stripped, abandoned, and he still prayed for those who were driving the nails. He did not wait for their spoken repentance. He asked the Father to forgive them and refused to let their violence define his heart. Forgiveness is not forgetting. The cross was real. The injustice was real. Forgiveness does not deny the wound. It refuses to let the wound rule. Corrie ten Boom, a Holocaust survivor, wrote this: "Forgiveness is an act of the will, and the will can function regardless of the temperature of the heart." She learned that in the presence of former captors. Forgiveness did not begin with warmth. It began with obedience. Bitterness narrows our vision. It keeps the wound open and feeds it. Forgiveness, on the other hand, liberates the soul. It releases the right to revenge and leaves justice with God. Remember, you're never going to kill your enemy by drinking poison. And when you fail to forgive, that's exactly what you do. You cannot carry the heart of Christ and cling to resentment. The two cannot share the same space. We cry out for revival without understanding the work to be done ahead of it. Revival withers where unforgiveness remains. If we speak of compassion, but quietly rehearse offenses, our ability to love fractures. The Spirit does not empower what the heart resists. Forgiveness does not excuse sin. It places judgment in the hands of God, where it belongs. Forgiveness is the heart of God made visible in Jesus. It is the ministry of reconciliation. Question: is there someone you are still holding responsible, still holding in resentment? Are you willing to release them? Just keep in mind, in doing so, you release yourself. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we've all held on to things that you've clearly told us to release. Our prayer today is that you would soften what is hardened inside of us. We make a conscious decision today. We choose to forgive. Just as you forgave those soldiers as they drove those nails. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen, and happy Thursday. Speaking of Thursday, that means we got a members only workshop tonight. So, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'll do my best to get us started on time, which means you guys need to show up on time so we can start on time, or as close to it as possible. And by all means, have your questions ready or send them ahead of time. You can email them, you can telegram them, you can text them. When you can't attend a members-only workshop live and in the flesh, by sending it in first, we hit those questions first, so that once the video of the workshop is published in the workshop channel, you won't have to wade through the entire workshop to find the answer to your question. It'll be right at the beginning. We open with prayer and then we get right into whatever questions anybody has. So remember, I'll see you there tonight. And if you've been on the trial, now's a good time to get a hold of Valerie, become a member so that you get your invitation to be in that workshop with us tonight. So let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow is up 915 points. Whoa, who saw that coming? It's almost 2%. NASDAQ's down 57. S&P 500 is up 23. The Russell 2000 is up 32. So we got the Dow up almost 2% and the Russell up a little over 1%. S&P's cooking along, up 22 points. But interestingly, the NASDAQ's in the red by 60 points. Now, 60 points is not a lot, really, for the NQ. So we'll see what develops over the course of this broadcast and the rest of today's session. In the commodity basket, crude oil is down $3.16, back below the highest weekly trading zone. Trading 92.82 last. That's a drop of almost 3.5%. Gold is up $37.60, trading 45.04 last. That's a gain of almost 1%. Silver's up 38 cents, trading 74.07 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei fell 931 points, almost 1.5%. Shanghai dropped 26. Hang Seng fell 379, almost 1.5%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 28, the DAX up 149, and the CAC up 93, little over 1%, almost 1.25%. So we had a red day in Asia, It was a green day for the UK, and it is a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. Got 3 of the major indices in the green, 1 in the red. I like to see them all the same color. That's when you get your best follow through on your trades. When we've got mixed markets, as we do today, there can be a little bit of a tug of war. But boy, I'll tell you what, nothing's holding the Dow back. Once again, up 920 points, almost 2% on the session. Turning to news, what do we got? Scientists studying Otzi the Iceman, a naturally preserved mummy who died roughly 5,300 years ago, have identified yeast living on and within his remains, and they even used it to bake a loaf of sourdough bread. Wow. The discovery, I don't think I want a slice of that, but thanks anyway. The discovery sheds new light on the microbial communities associated with ancient human remains and could reshape how scientists think about long-term preservation. Otzi was found in the Oztal Alps on the Austria-Italy border by 2 hikers in 1991. He's one of archaeology's most studied individuals, helping researchers reconstruct Copper Age diets, diseases, and migration patterns. In the new study, scientists identified cold-adapted yeasts in his stomach and on his skin that likely colonized his body shortly after death. One strain was successfully used to ferment and bake sourdough bread to test whether the ancient yeast was still active. Researchers described the results as very, very good. They didn't say it was tasty, but I'm assuming it was. The finding highlights that ancient remains are not static artifacts, but complex biological environments, adding another layer to Otzi's story. Interesting. Ancient mummy bread. The U.S. House passed a measure yesterday directing President Donald Trump to end the war with Iran or get approval from Congress. The vote passed 215 to 208, with 4 Republicans joining Democrats in the rebuke. The resolution is symbolic, though a similar measure in the Senate would compel Trump to end the war if passed. The House vote came hours after Kuwaiti authorities blamed Iran for a deadly drone and missile attack on its international airport. 1 person was killed and at least 63 others were wounded. If this thing lands on the president's desk, he's just going to veto it. Separately, Israel and Lebanon agreed to a ceasefire, conditional on Hezbollah stop shooting. I mean, I think Trump said it yesterday. He spoke yesterday afternoon. He was signing some executive orders. And one of the reporters asked him something about the ceasefire. He goes, in the world we live in now, he goes, the ceasefire means we just don't shoot as much. I got a little bit of laughter from the audience. So Israel and Lebanon agree to a ceasefire, but Hezbollah has to stop attacking Israel. It's unclear if the militant group will abide by the terms. Lebanon has struggled to rein in the Iranian-backed group in the past. The FBI killed a 41-year-old man yesterday who held 10 people hostage at an office building in Bakersfield, California. His death ended a 15-hour standoff with all hostages unharmed. The incident began around 1 p.m. Pacific time when police responded to reports of a bomb threat at a building housing a bank and a school district office. A nearby live streamer documented part of the incident, including someone waving from inside the building. At one point, negotiators secured the release of 2 hostages. The hostage situation ended at 4:20 a.m. Pacific time yesterday, with the suspect killed in an officer-involved shooting. Authorities have not publicly revealed a motive as of this writing. Hostage negotiation is a 52-year-old discipline that began within the New York Police Department and boasts over a 90% success rate. It involves a communication model including active listening and rapport building. And you see it every time there's a hostage situation on your favorite cop show. Negotiators come in and they try to bond with whoever's, pulling the strings inside, and get them some food, send them some pizza. It's a formula. They follow it pretty well. And success rate, 82%. I don't know if it's because of their negotiating abilities or because the hostage taker just doesn't want to die. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. At 4:20 a.m. under the cover of darkness. Now, here's a headline to get your attention. Why the SpaceX IPO could be a trap. Really? Well, let's find out. SpaceX may be a generational business. History says IPO day can still be a terrible entry point. Across more than 9,000 operating company initial public offerings from 1975 to 2021, 60% of returns finished flat or lower 3 years after the first close, while only 16% more than doubled. The average return was positive, but only because a small group of moonshots pulled it higher. And most IPOs don't make it to the moon. The data comes from Jay Ritter's IPO research at the University of Florida, which tracks traditional companies going public, not SPACs, REITs, closed-end funds, or ADRs. In other words, this is closer to the IPO market most investors imagine when they hear about a big private company finally listing its stock. That distinction is important because SpaceX is not arriving as a startup in search of Wall Street's blessing. It is arriving, even when it lists, after years of value creation in the private markets, a pattern that has turned the IPO from Wall Street's starting line into more of an exit ramp for early backers. That is something to keep in mind. There's a whole lot of investors holding a lot of private stock, and when it becomes public, they can sell it. Same with their employees. Okay, so there will be no shortage of shares to buy on the day of the IPO. Now, this doesn't mean public investors should avoid every hot IPO. It means they should stop treating the first trade as the only chance to get in. Facebook was a great example. I forget what price it IPO'd at, but within a couple weeks it had dropped to around 18 bucks. Boy, was that ever a dip to buy, right? Kathy Donnelly, co-author of The Life Cycle Trade, made a similar point in a Yahoo Finance webinar on IPO trading. One slide summed up the danger. Few IPOs make quick gains of 100% or more, and most undercut their first day low within 3 weeks. Stocks that do jump fast often give the gains back. That's the better way to think about SpaceX. The company may be exceptional. The trade still has to prove itself after the opening day rush. Now you can get in now and you can be one of those looking for the exits on IPO day. This morning, SpaceX launched its IPO website for retail investors. I didn't see this coming. At spacexipo.com, just like it sounds, spacexipo.com. In addition to the prospectus and investor Q&A, SpaceX also provided its roadshow presentation for review. SpaceX's roadshow with large investors begins today. We are building the systems and technologies necessary to provide global connectivity on Earth and beyond, to understand the true nature of the universe, and to extend the light of consciousness to the stars. This is all from the company's new website. SpaceX confirmed its plan to price the offering on June 11th, with trading to begin on June 12th. Yesterday, SpaceX said in a filing that it will seek proceeds of $75 billion from its initial public offering, a record amount for any IPO. In the filing, the company said it would offer 555,555 shares, all fives, 9 of them, 2 commas, at $135 each, which equals $75 billion. That would amount to 4.2% of the entire float, with the remaining 95.8% held by CEO Elon Musk and other insiders. SpaceX authorized the underwriters to sell additional shares if needed, bringing the total raise to $85.7 billion. At that share price, it would give SpaceX a hypothetical market cap of around $1.78 trillion. This listing represents the first major test for public markets after years of muted IPO activity, with SpaceX paving the way for AI giants Anthropic and OpenAI to follow soon after. Anthropic is shooting for September. They want to get out in front of OpenAI. SpaceX plans to use the proceeds for purposes including the expansion of our AI compute infrastructure, enhancements to our launch infrastructure and launch vehicles, increases in the scale and capacity of our satellite constellations, and any remaining amounts for general corporate purposes. SpaceX also needs to use the IPO proceeds and debt to repay within 6 months at least some of the $20 billion bridge loan, according to the filing. So we need to check it out. Now, part of SpaceX's big valuation is, remember, Starlink, the satellite-based internet service that began operation in 2019. Starlink generates the lion's shares of SpaceX's profits, and its growth may be a reason why a SpaceX IPO would be lucrative at this time. We'll take a look at that website at some point. What time is it? It's time to go 247. And then we get done, we'll go look at that website. Logic 247, it's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, and silver. Over the last 409 weeks, we've issued over 22,400 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based simply on market structure. A simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So far this week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 54 alerts. Now, when Valerie did the recap this morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, we were still waiting on the outcome of 14. She will update the recap this afternoon, early evening, as she does each and every day. So, with 54 alerts issued and 14 waiting at the time of the recap, that gave us 40 actionable alerts, 3 stopouts, or 8%. Love being in the single digits. We'll see where we end up. Close of business tomorrow. I think last week we ended with 8%. But over 7.5 years, 22,400 individual alerts, we've averaged 20% or less getting stopped out on a weekly basis. Now, the purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Of course, you can trade them as well, but the real purpose is to help you learn to read the chart. Every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help get your goal for the day. In most cases, additional targets, and then a final trade to target. If it's a long alert, the final trade to target will always be the weekly trading zone above, and if it's a short alert, the final trade to target will always be the weekly trading zone below. If you never actually trade a logic alert, you can still use them for the purpose intended, to learn to read the chart. Now, 409 weeks is a very long time, but many years before we introduced Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just say this. They don't come out around the clock like the logic alerts. They're published as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open each evening. The Thursday session we're in right now began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. But all of our traders had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So let's go take a look at the charts. And we'll start where we always do, with the bellwether, the S&P 500 Emini futures. Quite a turnaround from yesterday. Starting to think we may get another one of those head fakes. We had this head fake, we didn't get the retracement to the VBC, and then this head fake, we didn't get the retracement. And then we outlined yesterday why this was an area, ripe for potential support. And we opened last night, we went a little bit lower. Remember, yesterday was a big down day. But just as we were approaching that spot that we highlighted, markets reversed, but now we got resistance overhead. When the black step line gets directly above price, that becomes potential resistance. Same is true of blue and climbing. When it gets directly above price, it becomes potential resistance. Now, the all-time historic high, is that it? Nope. It's this one. June 1st, 76.32 and a quarter. The following day, the high was 76.32. Then yesterday, we had the big sell-off, and now today, we come roaring back. Now, if we overcome the black step line, that's part one, then we have to overcome blue and climbing, part two, before we can make a run at the all-time historic high. Now, we had all-time historic highs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So this is a little bit surprising, considering nothing's really changed in regards to the geopolitical tension that has put so much pressure on the markets. And interestingly, even crude has come down. Now, all the alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose years ago, and stayed with it. The vertical lines that you see separate today, Thursday. This is Wednesday. This is Tuesday. This is Monday. The horizontal lines are our weekly trading zones. They're published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. We've published the zones every Monday for our members since December 14th, 2009. Over 16 years. We're closing in on 17 years now. The idea behind the zones is that as price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Like that, like that, like that. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly trading zone. 70% of the time, it's consolidation. 20% of the time, it's rejection. 10% of the time, it's the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that happens and the move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice, just like it did right there. And on that slice, look where we found support, right at the weekly trading zone, 75.74/75. So the zones were a little tight this week, but price has respected them pretty well. The open last night well, let me show you. This short target here, okay, is based off this bullish cross here. Now, we spiked it, obviously, down to here and even down to here. Now, the low of this candle right here. Come on. That low, oh goodness, 75.24.5. Come on. Come on, man. $75.25.25. Is that a tick difference? That's market structure. People ask me, well, how far left do I have to look? Because that's what market structure is all about, looking left. And looking at the indicators and looking at the zones. But you look as far left as you have to. So to come up with that short target for last night, I had to look. This is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, last Thursday. I had to go all the way back to last Thursday to find that short target. Now, I'm always a little conservative, you know. I could have pegged it right here, and it would have held this area right here, but this would have still spiked it a little bit. Anyway, now for the long target, obviously I only had to look back to yesterday. This area right here. And it looks like if the market keeps cooking, although the black step line is starting to lean to the right. When the black step line crosses blue and climbing, we typically see a retracement back to the BBC. But if we keep moving up, we're trying to get above this zone here, 94/95. So we opened last night, that right here, we gapped lower on the open pretty substantially. In fact, the first 30-minute candle, we hit that short target. We opened here, we ran down, we ran up, we ran back down, and then we just consolidated along that short target. But now you see how red and falling got directly below price and became support. The reason it does is because it's usually on its way to becoming blue and climbing. Red and falling is bearish, blue and climbing is bullish. And so we had a big leg and a retracement. We found resistance at the zone. Resistance always sends the market looking for support. And I just scrolled left and showed you where that support came from. Okay. Support will then send the market looking for resistance. We got through the BBC. We stalled for a bit here at the weekly trading zone, and then we retraced to the BBC and the pullback held. Leg and a retracement. The pullback holds more often than not. And it's just been up, and away. Now we got a spot right here where we could see potential resistance. The high of this candle is 75.74. No, it's not. It's 76.14.75. Right here. That's potential resistance. But we're going to go with right there. 76.20. That's the target. We'll see if price can get there. Now, if we just take a quick look at the whole week. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So this was the Globex Open Sunday night. Had a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. We put in a double bottom there. Sent us up to the second of the highest weekly trading zone. The highest zone for the week, 76.89/90. So we're trying to get through this zone. This is what the whole week looks like. It's the same as that, just broken down into 30-minute candles instead of daily candles. On the Dow, wow. The Dow's really on fire, up 900 points today. Look at this thing. We opened last night right at a weekly trading zone. And when price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Okay. We hit this zone and bounced. The pullback to the BBC held. And then another leg and a retracement. The pullback held. And then a leg. And then we finally got above the BBC. This time the pullback didn't hold. So we got a leg up to the zone, a retracement, a leg, retracement, then a leg that took us right through that long target, which was based off that area right there, where this black step line crossed back to the left side of red and falling. That's an important price, important area. Now we hit it to the tick on this candle, but the next candle just flew right through it. We've taken out all the zones except the highest weekly zone, 520.50. If this carries through into tomorrow, we just might see it. So was that, let's see, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So in this session, we've seen the low of the week for the Dow and the high of the week. New all-time high. Interesting. All in one session. On the Russell, here's where we opened last night. We had red and falling, which became blue and climbing. Price pulled back to the BBC, the pullback held. We consolidated sideways. Then we ran up to the zone, 2903/2904. Now this zone is 2884/85. And the low of that candle is 85.1. So we missed hitting the zone by a tick. Okay. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Support at the zone. Resistance at the zone. Resistance at the zone. Support. Resistance. Support. You get the idea. Price just moves from zone to zone to zone. The zones kind of just create a playing field. At the beginning of the week for our traders, it's not a prediction that price is going to go to the highest zone or the lowest zone. It just lets you know, as the market does, whatever the market does on any given day, it highlights the areas where you should anticipate potential resistance, potential support. Okay. And again, here, this zone's 84/85, so we missed hitting it by one tick. $28.85.1. So the high on the Russell has been this zone. We spiked it just a little bit. The zone is 37/38. The high there was 38.6. Now that high I believe is this high right here. Nope, that's 38.4. So we took it out by 2 ticks. Now we're going to make another run at the zone. It looks like, see how the black step line started to hook to the right because of the sideways consolidation? But it looks like it's perking up. It's got to take out this high right here. And then we'll be at the zone. And then we'll be at, let's see, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Is that the high of the week? Yep, sure is. Interesting. All right, we'll see what happens when we get to this zone. With that step line leaning to the right, we may be running out of steam on this move. We'll see. We've gone from... Now here's another example of the slice. We sliced through that zone and then we retraced back to the zone and then we continued in the direction of the slice. On the NQ, yesterday live, we drew in this window of opportunity here, which got filled, but in a very awkward kind of way, and then it filled again. So we had a gap lower open last night. It gapped right down to the bottom of the window. We exceeded it. It was based off this from Thursday, Wednesday, from Tuesday's price action. So again, we filled it, but not in a way we would like to. This is more like it over here, because the market opened right in the middle of that window last night. I had thought it would potentially fill during the session yesterday. But we opened and the NQ continued to fall. Remember, the NQ is the only one in the red today. Or it was a few minutes ago when I gave you the numbers from around the world. This is where we closed last night. So NQ is about to go back into the green. Remember, it was only down like 60 points. That's not a lot for the NQ. Crude oil back below the highest weekly trading zone. Now, we got above the highest weekly zone on Monday. And our standing rule is that any time any of the markets hit the highest or lowest weekly trading zone by Tuesday morning, we expect that market to, or what history has shown us is that quite often that market will be at the other end of the spectrum by the end of the week. Red and falling is curled up under price, so it looks like support. Now, price could trade through it. If it does, you got a bullish cross right here you should pay attention to, 91.45. And then this low right here, 90.65. And then the zone. So we've been above the zone, back below, and on this move, this was a $4,000 per contract move. When crude moves $1, that's worth $1,000 per contract traded. So we went from 94.20 to 90.20. And then we went from 90.20 back to 94.20. 4,000 down, 4,000 back up. And then we haven't even made a run at the long target today. Price gapped lower on the open last night. Pull back to the BBC held. Leg and a retracement, the pullback held. Leg and a retracement, the pullback held. And now the low is not a spot I would have anticipated support. Right here, yes, and that's where that first candle found support. Then we kept poking below it, but now that the step line is crossed, we've got a red candle. So based on the step line crossing, we should retrace to the BBC, but this red candle looks pretty serious. It's still got 6 minutes left in its lifespan. The next candle could open green and make the run up to the BBC. I would expect this pullback to hold and give us another leg to the downside, but we'll have to wait and see. Gold. This is where we opened last night. Got above the BBC, a leg and a retracement, and then we hit the long target to the tick. Now that was based off this high right here from yesterday. So resistance sends the market looking for support. Support sends us back to resistance, back to support. And then we found new resistance right here. Right here. Again, I would have expected it to be a little bit higher. But we overcame the zone. In fact, we sliced through it, and then we came right back to it. And then we continued in the direction of the slice, but we didn't put in a higher high. And right above us, there's a bearish cross from a couple days ago, 2 days ago. So if price gets back up there, look for that to be potential resistance. So Right now, we've got red and falling overhead. That's potential resistance and the zone. And then right here, we're blue turned to red. So gold's got a lot of work to do if it's going to move higher in this session. But you got to embrace all possibilities. That's resistance times 2. Red and falling and the zone. We've seen that a lot over the last few days. Gold and silver both running up overnight. And then as we get into the Wall Street session, they're selling off on us. Same thing with silver. Here's where we opened last night. Got pretty close to the short target. Didn't quite make it. That low from last night. Yep, definitely not a spot I would have been anticipating support. I'd have been looking for a little bit lower. There, or obviously there. Short target was based off that right there. And so we had a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. We finally got above the zone and made it all the way up to the long target at 75.06. Now we've come back all the way to this zone. It was resistance, 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 then it became support. So we had a leg and a retracement. This pullback looks like it might hold. It's red and falling overhead. We still may have more downside to go. Now what time does sell-off start? Right off the Wall Street open. Gold and silver rallying overnight. Now this has happened, I don't know, I think every day this week. And then Wall Street opens and, well, it wasn't the Wall Street open yesterday. It started a lot earlier than that. It started around midnight. Actually, we had an early sell-off, recovered. But the pullback held and the pullback held and the pullback held. And then we finally got above it and the pullback held from the other direction. So that's where we sit on silver. All right, looks like we're pushing through or trying to push through that black step line on the daily chart. Blue and climbing right above it, potential resistance. And then we've got, we'll be within striking distance of the all-time historic high, which again is 76.32 1/4. All right, Michael is here. He'll give us a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room and do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. And then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
Okay. Hey, I forwarded you an email about the Sophie thing.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay. Oh, also, let's bring up a browser window and we'll look at this together. I told, go to SpaceXIPO.com.
So there it is, SpaceX. SpaceXIPO.com.
Yep.
IPO. Look at that.
Supposedly, this is where retail investors can buy shares. I just came across the news article when I was going through the news today. So I'm not, but it says retail investors can go here and buy shares for $135.
$135. That's what it's. Sophie, that thing that I just emailed to you, that's what it costs Sophie, $135 to buy shares right now. So they were selling them to pre-IPO for $40 2 months ago. Is that correct?
Probably.
Yeah. And so the $135 ones, they're $300. They're off.
Well, that was before the stock split. Remember, they did a 5-to-1 split.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's crazy.
And they say the lion's share of revenue from SpaceX comes from Starlink.
Yeah,
That's
I read
the big moneymaker.
Mm-hmm. There's so much that's going to be happening in the future that, it's buy and hold. Even if you, in the beginning, if you make money right at the very beginning, it's going to have its
Yeah, well,
its ups
I
and
shared an
downs.
article earlier that talked about the history of IPOs, and uh, most of them, even if they come out of the gate strong,
Mm-hmm.
over time they don't do so well. They
Yeah,
trade below their IPO price. I think
mm-hmm.
only 16% of IPOs have
Gone up and
maintained a
stayed up.
price, have gone up and stayed up. Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
I mean, Facebook, it went off at like $80 a share and then fell to like 18. But I mean, it came back. It's so I don't know
yeah.
how they factor that into that whole equation they were giving. But so
Well,
anyway, yeah, your charts, your screens look good. So
okay.
let you do your thing.
Yeah, Facebook had a really big mess when they came out. Anyway, I remember my I didn't buy any of it when it came out, but my friend Phil did, and we were standing there waiting for our kids to get out of school, and picking our kids up after school. This was a while ago when I was still picking Jake and Lexi up from St. Catherine's, and Phil was showing me on his phone because the IPO had just happened while we were doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all screwed up, and he couldn't do anything with his shares. They were all locked up. They put him in, and he couldn't do anything with it.
Mm.
And I don't remember when they did their IPO. There was something that messed up with the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember
I'm sure
something went wrong. Well,
sure it's better.
hopefully he held on to him.
Oh yeah, well I don't know if he held on to him. He probably did. I don't know. He hasn't shown me his portfolio in a while, but every now and then he used to call me about Tesla and ask me what's going on with Tesla because he was a huge Tesla person, but he never listened to what I said anyway. So, I'd say, okay, well, I see it's going to go up here. It's going to find resistance, and then it's going to pull back to this level, which is usually the BBC. And I say it's going to find support. And so if you sell it up here, you'll be able to buy it back down here in a few days. I don't know what he ever did. We talked about a month ago, and we talked for like hours. But it's one of those friends that when you don't talk to for a while and meet up with them, and everything's back to normal. He's got
catching up. Yeah.
Got to catch up.
All right.
Anyway, all right. So here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 4th day of June, 2026. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you'd like to take a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. And when you do, you will be sent to, I have a page open. You'll be sent to this page. The registration page. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Down at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. All right, hit the register button. When you do that, we'll know that you took the trial, and we get you all the indicators indicating on your desktop and everything you need to get into the room with us in the morning. Okay. Okay. So, spreadsheet. Now we had a pretty slow day today compared to how we have been the days that we have been having. Today, as I said, is the 4th day of June, 2026. We're up 71 ticks on the NQ, 10 on the Russell, 35 on the YM, and -7 on the ES. We only had 13 trades this morning. We're up 492.50. Okay. Today took 13 minutes and 1 trade to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we were up. So that puts us at 92% of our trades will break even or better. On the month now, we are at $3,837 over 4 business days, averaging $959 per contract per 2-hour business day. And on the year, we're at $98,457. Now, tomorrow morning, we have some really high impact news coming up. So I expect tomorrow morning, and tomorrow we'll have more action than today, only 13 trades today. We're getting in a roll there. We had a bunch of 1,000 plus days in a row, like a whole week of them, 5 days in a row. Hopefully we keep that streak going. So on the year, we're at 98,457 over 93 days, averaging 1,058 per contract per day. And the 24/20 blueprint went up a little bit more today. We exceeded the goal by a little bit, by $75, almost double the goal. It took us 14 minutes, but we almost doubled it, so that put this higher. If you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and you were to add one contract per month, I'm trying to drag this out, okay. And you were to add one contract per month. So far this year, you have only had to work 14.36 hours. And if you did everything exactly like I did, you'd be up $44,792, averaging $3,117 per day, per hour. Sorry, I'll get it right. $3,170 per hour. All right. That's all. So let's get in here and see the trades. We only had 13 of them, so it's not going to take that long to see all the trades. And hopefully we'll have another 20 minutes to trade in here, though things did seem to slow down at the end of the session this morning. All right, this is the Russell, and we had just 2 trades here. Both of them for 5 ticks. 5 ticks there and 5 ticks there. And if we crunch it up, this was a retracement of that leg. So another leg up from this would put us up here somewhere. Okay, if it's going to continue the trend. That's the Russell. Now the YM. We had just a few trades on the YM. All 3 of them are right here. The first one was a plus 20. Then we had a plus 10 to get us to 30. The 20 is where we got the goal for the day, right there. Then we had a plus 10 to get us to 30, and a plus 5 to get us to 35. And that was it for the YM. Now if we crunch this one up, it's got sort of the same pullback. This is more than a 50% retracement, and it was on the Russell too. But if you look at the same extension right here, then it puts it up here. Okay, it's kind of weak because it pulled back so deep right here. That kind of weakens the top right here. And what it could be building, this could be a head and this could be a shoulder. It's pulled back so deep that it could be developing a shoulder right here. I hope that doesn't happen. It just continues the trend, but we'll get what we get. All right. So that is the YM. Now the ES, we only had a few trades on the ES. We'll probably see all those in one screenshot too. There they are. Was there one earlier? Nope, that was it. This is it on the ES. So our first trade on the ES was a plus 3. Then we had a break even. Then I think that was just a plus 1. So we're actually minus 6. And so that put us at plus 4. And then we stopped out. So that put us at minus 6 on the ES. Okay, and this is where we are right now. There's no trade happening right here, right now. Okay, and the NQ was the one that had the most trades again, but it didn't have very many trades either. Okay, that's pretty much it right there. There's one more early on, I think. Here it is. This was our first trade on the NQ. We picked up 10 ticks there. Then 11 to get us to 21. Then 9 to get us to 30. Then 25 to get us to 55. Then 16 to get us to 71. And that is where we ended up with the NQ. It did have some nice runs here, but if we look at this, we crunch this all up. See, this pullback is showing a little strength because it's nowhere near a 50% retracement of this. I'm just having trouble putting in new highs right now. You see it's finding some resistance right up here at the top. But anyway, that is what we had. So it looks like it's going to flip the YBR here on the YM. We're trying to move up right here on the NQ. This was not a trade back here, but we did go all the way up into the overbought. So that's all we got. All right, so if you haven't taken a free trial, let's go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required. When you click on that, you'll be brought to the registration page just to fill it out. Okay. Once you fill it out, you'll be sent everything you need to get into the room with us in the morning. So now we can trade, and we do have 20 minutes. Okay. So hopefully we'll have some trades in here in these 20 minutes. No questions? Anybody? Anyone? All right. Let's minimize that guy right there and that guy right there. Okay, and we'll slide that over and that over. And we're about to flip the YBR here on the YM. We need to hit the mid-band here and here and here. Okay. All right, so on the YM, we're hitting the YBR right here. That means it's going to flip. Okay, it doesn't matter whether this bar closes up or down, it's going to flip the YBR. And everything else, we're just waiting for it to pull back and hit. Now, if we go out here, we look way out here. GPT, hood. What's hood doing today? It's down. All right. This is the ES right here. We're right up against the black step line right now. That's what Dan was talking about earlier. If we push on through this right here, then that would be a positive thing. The fact that it kept going up after the European markets closed is also a positive thing. Right? It means there's strength in the American markets. All it takes is one tweet. Just need Trump to give us a tweet, tell us he's going to have it done. At the end of the day, on I don't know, tomorrow would be good. I think Congress is trying to strip away his strength. Just because the House passed it doesn't mean it's a done deal. All right, so we did flip the YBR, so we're going to be looking for shorts here. The only place we're looking for shorts is on the YM right now. Did you? Excellent. There you go. So all this trouble you've been going through to try to get that done. Just go right through that. Yeah, I didn't try it yet. Okay. I didn't read the fine print. I just started going through it on my phone. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. The debit card expired. Okay. All right. On the Russell, we don't have anything here. And on the YM, we don't have anything here yet. Nothing. We didn't make it into the oversold. Didn't make it into the oversold. right, so with yeah. With the ES, we need a down close followed by an up close. Same thing. Down close to get into the oversold followed by an up close. Okay, the Russell's not anywhere near it right now. All right, well, the first 7 minutes have given us nothing. I'm hoping it's going to change. Now we have a low right here of 478. So if you add 10 to that, you'd be at 488 is what you'd be buying on the NQ right now. As long as that low stays in place. And it's not, but it's still good. 86.75 now. Okay, now it'll be 84. If this bar closes down, it's going to be no trade. And it's probably going to close down. I'll put the order on anyway. Should be at 84 right now. You see where I'm getting at, guys? Add 10 to the bottom of the bar. And there we go. We're in the trade. Look, no slippage at all. Oops. There it is. Stop to plus 10. And we're out with 10. Okay, we didn't end up with anything on the ES. We didn't end up with anything here or here. So far, just the one trade on the NQ. It's halfway to the goal for the day in this session. Halfway. We had 4 times the goal, almost 5 times the goal in the morning session, right? Yeah, almost 5 times. And so now we're 5.5 times. It's not a trade here on the ES because it didn't go down to the oversold. All right, you see how the mid-band dropped down a little bit? It just tightened up the range in here. This is nothing here. If we got a down close on this on the ES and an up close on the next bar, then we'd have a trade. We need 2 down closes on the NQ now. It's getting weak though right here. You see how it didn't put in a higher swing right here. It's showing weakness. We need something, some reason for this to jump up. And there's another one on the NQ. There. Here we go. It's going to go up to 87 to bump the stop. It's showing weakness right here. I'm not in love with this trade because it's showing weakness right here. But if it gets halfway up, it'll be at 89. If it does half of this leg length right here, it'll be enough. There it goes. 89 is what half a leg length would be. Now we got 12 on that. And we'll go to 16. And 16 on that. Did you see what I was referring to when I said half the leg length? Let's get rid of the context for a second and blow this up. I'll show you what I mean. Wait a minute, the S is about having the trade here too. The S is going into the high of the day. This is the high of the day right here on the S. But what I was looking at right here on this was that's the pattern that it's in right there. If it does half this leg length down, it would be 89 is what I was looking at. Okay. The Russell could have a trade here on an up close. So the Russell could have a trade on an up close. The ES does have a trade right now. Here, I'm sorry, a minute. Here it is. Put that window on top. Okay, it's going to go 2 more ticks, get my stop to break even. And the Russell's got a low. Come on. Oh, I'm in the drawing. The Russell's got a low of 30.9. So it would be 32.9 is what you'd be buying on that. Okay. There's the Russell. And the NQ. A little bit there. And the ES hasn't gone to break even yet. By going through the midpoint on this, it showed a little bit of strength. Now, if it breaks up above the prior swing high, which is right here, that will show even more strength. Okay. We have high impact news coming out in the morning. This could be the run up to the high impact news where it sells off when the news comes out. Buy the rumor, sell the news, that sort of thing. So, just prepping you for the morning. This has got a low here of 30.9, so we're still going to be buying 20 ticks above that at 32.9. It did make it through it right here, so now it's going to get up above this. It's just going to get up above right there, and it did. Okay, so that's pretty good. This bumped our stop, so we'll go to +1 on the ES trade right here, just to get something out of it. It should make it up above the, it's going for this one first, but once it hits that, I think it's going to go through all these right here. 7,600 is what I was saying earlier today. I was saying 7,600 is where this wants to go. Earlier, there was right here, there was over 500 on this level. It's 99.75. Okay. Earlier today. And you guys noticed that I pointed it out this morning. I'll go to +2 on this ES. I mean, the Russell hasn't triggered yet. It's still in the right place. I feel like the ES is going to be explosive once it goes through here. It's almost there. It's almost there. And the Russell's just about ready to pop with it. The NQ made it. It's almost through there it goes. Okay, I'm going to lock in 4 on this. We're about ready to trigger. Oh, we just did trigger in on the Russell. Okay, so there's the new high right there. Okay, the Russell's at break even. I think. No, it's not. Lock in 6 on this. Russell stop is still down there. Hasn't gone 10 ticks yet on the Russell. And we're out with 6 on the ES. And we're waiting for the Russell to do something over there. So far we've had 2 NQ trades, 1 ES trade, and we're in 1 Russell trade. We have a couple minutes left. I'm glad we got something done in here. That's nice the way it's coming through right there. Now let's just watch the ES on the DOM. Okay, that number, those numbers right there. This number right up here at 7,600, it's coming. Russell's going to go up with it too, I think. Russell's going to jump in with the ES. And what does it take? Let me hit save on this. And see what it takes to get up above the black step line. Above 7,600. That's what it takes. Okay, we're just about there. And the Russell wants to go. It's got to get up to right here. It's got a number there, there, and a few right there. I think it's all going to go. I know what's going on with the YM right here. The ES is hitting it all right now. 7,600 right there. It's right up against it. There goes the Russell. The Russell's at +5. It's going to go through that number. There it goes. The Russell's going to +10. So in this 20-minute session, we did just about as well as we did in the morning session. 10 on the Russell. And we're out of the ES, but I just want to see it go through 7,600. It's 1:29. We have about 20 seconds left, so we'll just go through this right here. And then all right. Well, we didn't make it through 7,600 yet, but we made it up to 7,600. So we're right at the black step line on the larger time frame. We're right at it. See that? So we push on through that. And you could have new highs all day. All right. So if you have not taken a free trial with us, it is time to say this. I got to fill out the sheet too. But I'll do this part in a minute. If you're not taking a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. Just go there, click on that. Then come here and fill out the registration form. Gives you TradingView login ID down here at the bottom. If you want to have the indicators indicating on your desktop, we need that TradingView login ID. Okay. So today, go down to the bottom. Day number 104 and 6-4. On the NQ, we had 26. On the Russell, we had 10. YM, we had nothing. And on the ES, we had 6. Okay, so we'll copy that down. There. This. Copy that to there. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. 4 trades with 0 stop-outs. So 100% of our trades were break even or better. We had 20 minutes trading time. This goes to 103. All right, so here we are. We made it up to $255 with 1 contract, or $2,550 with 10. We made 26 ticks on the NQ, 10 on the Russell, and 6 on the ES in this session. 4 trades, 0 stop-outs in 20 minutes. So in the 103 sessions that we've recorded the results on, we are now up. We're averaging $111 per contract. And the sessions are now lasting 16.8 minutes is the average, so almost 17 minutes average trading time. I'm telling you, if you don't get it in the morning session, just come to this and get it here. Even if you do get it in the morning session, come to this, and it's usually in these half-hour sessions, for me anyway, there's usually enough time for you to get in your goal. Look at that thing is still going, and the ES went up above 7,600, so we're above the black step line now. The Russell kept going up. The YM is the only thing that's not going. All right, well, that's it, guys. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking southbound America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
Yep. Recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 14 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,750.
Good job. All right, guys, covered all the markets in granular detail as we do each and every day. So if you missed any part of today's broadcast and you would like to see it, give it 10 minutes after I sign off and just go to youtube.com/CFRN. You can watch all or any part of today's broadcast. Now, we've made it through the black step line. So now our next obstacle overhead for this little rally we got going would be blue and climbing. Once we overcome that, then we got yesterday's high, and then the day before, which was 76.32, and then the all-time historic high is 76.32 and a quarter. One tick higher. And as Michael had pointed out, interestingly, this candle and this candle are exactly the same size. That's just a fun fact to know and tell, I guess. But it is interesting, no doubt. To become a member, get a hold of Valerie. Just let her know you want to become a member. You can call her at 949-42-EMINI. You can shoot her an email, support@cfrn.net. She'll send you an email that has all the information you need to make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not what we do is right for you. Once you become a member, you'll get 2 hours of live training every trading day. It's an interactive environment. This is really important. 9 out of 10 new traders fail simply because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. There's plenty of people that'll sell you indicators and oscillators and all sorts of goodies. But finding someone that will sit with you 2 hours a day and help you actually learn how to trade, whoa, that's a tall order. If you find it somewhere else, I'd love to know. On top of the 2 hours of live interactive group training every trading day, you also get access to private one-on-one mentoring. No extra charge. All you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's basically just how markets work. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts. They will help you learn to read the chart so that you know where to anticipate support, where to anticipate resistance. In doing so, you unveil the windows of opportunity that lie between those two important points, and that's where you'll find your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. As a passport holder, every evening, typically 5 minutes before the Globex Open, you'll get the concierge trade alerts. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. Once the weekly zones are published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. And every Thursday night, you're able to attend the members-only workshop, 8 p.m. Eastern. Last but not least, you get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. There's quite a few. It's everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. And it all starts when you reach out to Valerie. 949-42-EMINI. If you get her voicemail, leave a message. She'll call you back. Or just email her, support@cfrn.net, and just let her know you want to become a member. She'll send you all the info you need. Good word for the day. Yesterday we started with part 1 of how to conquer your Jericho. We all know the story of Jericho and the walls that came tumbling down. But in our personal lives, we all have our own Jerichos. Our scripture today, it's painful. Joshua 5:2. Circumcise the sons of Israel again the second time. What? And everybody ran. Before conquering Jericho, God told Joshua to circumcise the sons of Israel again the second time. 600 years earlier, God had... Now, here's a little factoid you might not know. Circumcision is typically performed on the 7th day after birth. Why is that? Well, the Bible contained the information long ago, but it took science a while to catch up. On the 7th day after birth, a male child has the highest level of vitamin K that they'll ever have in their lifetime. And apparently that has something to do with the healing process, and I don't know, maybe it doesn't hurt so much. That's a scientific... I love it when science proves the Bible correct. And there's never been any scientific discovery, archaeological discovery, that disproves anything in the Bible. Nothing. Not one thing. Ever. Think about it. So, back to the good word for the day. He told Abraham that this second circumcision would be a sign of the covenant between me and you. That's in Genesis 17:11. So what's the message here? Remember whose you are. Not who you are, but whose you are. This was a physical sign for Israel. In Christ, we understand the deeper spiritual reality it points to. In a sense, all believers have been circumcised. Paul wrote, "When you came to Christ, he set you free from your evil desires, not by a bodily operation of circumcision, but by a spiritual operation." That's Colossians 2:11. That means you are now God's child, John 1:12. Christ's friend, John 15:15. A member of Christ's body, 1 Corinthians 12:27. A saint, Ephesians 1:1. Redeemed and forgiven of all your sins, Colossians 1:14. Complete in Christ, lacking in nothing, Colossians 2:10. Free from condemnation, Romans 8:1. God's co-worker, 2 Corinthians 6:1. Seated with Christ in the heavenly realm, Ephesians 2:6. God's workmanship, Ephesians 2:10. A citizen of heaven, Philippians 3:20. Adopted into God's family, Ephesians 1:5. Born of God, and the evil one cannot touch you, 1 John 5:18. Again, Paul wrote, "Consider yourselves to be dead to the power of sin and alive to God," Romans 6:11. So when the enemy draws near, stand up to him and say, "What are you doing here? I am dead to you." Don't stand for or listen to his accusations. Don't cower at his attacks. When he dredges up your past mistakes, tell him who you are in Christ. He has no recourse to this truth. He knows who you are. He just hopes that you don't know who you are, or that over time you'll forget it. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.